Hi, everybody, and welcome to Budget with Tiffany. I'm Tiffany. I'm so excited to have you here today. I'm going to be doing my weekly check in. So, this is going to cover the fourth week of October, looking back at our transactions, what we spent money on, going over any income, and then we are going to be budgeting for the last week of October, which really is just today, the 31st, and then the first, 6 days of November, just because I go based off of Fridays. So, yeah, so kind of a weird week, but yeah, so we are in You Need a Budget. So let me jump through and look at our transactions for this last week, which we have quite a few. So starting at the bottom, so DJ and I went to Iowa for the weekend, last weekend, the 25th and 26th. We were going to watch college football game between the Iowa Hawkeyes and the University of Minnesota Gophers. DJ's an alumni of the Gophers. And so we went down to go watch because it's kind of a big rivalry. And unfortunately, the Gophers lost 41-3, so it was not a very fun game to watch, but we had a lot of fun. We went with one of DJ's best friends, and we met up with some other friends of theirs. So it was a good weekend. It was also my first time really spending any time in Iowa. Not super exciting, but it was cool. Obviously, University of Iowa is like kind of a bigger college town, Iowa City, and so that was kind of cool to kind of check out their area. So DJ got gas on his way home from work on Friday, but then we ended up not even actually taking his car. We took his friend's car. So we have him getting gas at Costco. And then to take with us, he got some alcohol to share with their friends that we were meeting up with, and just also for the trip and for him at home. So we had that $56.60 that he spent on that. We had the extra mortgage payment that we were able to make from our debt binder for $635. So we show the money coming out of our bank account, and then going out, and then this one is going into our category in our account in YNAB for our mortgage, because we just kind of track it in YNAB. And then we put $725 from our month ahead binder that I just hadn't transferred over yet into our savings. So I did that. So again, we've got the transfer out of our checking account with Fidelity and into the savings account. Then we paid credit card, one of DJ's credit cards. It was a whole $4.14. So we've got the outflow from the bank account and the inflow into his credit card. DJ, and then most of these, a lot of the rest of the transactions are going to be from the Iowa trip. So DJ got some food and I think a couple beers at concessions. We went to a place for dinner. These are not in the order of when they actually happened. I'm not sure how they actually put them in. It's like by date and then maybe alphabetically or something. I'm not sure. But so we went to dinner at this kind of bar place that they had been to before, got some burgers, and then across the street, because the place that we went to literally just had like two different types of burgers and then like a grilled cheese sandwich or something, and they didn't have like fries or anything. So DJ ran across the street to a different place and got some fries and some onion rings, and brought them back to the place that we were at because they were fine with having other food brought in. So that was the $42 for the food, which we paid for all three of us, and then $10.72 for the fries and onion rings. that night after we got back to the Airbnb after the game and dinner and all that, DJ and his friend went to local Hy-Vee grocery store, and I think he bought like a drink and like a beer or something and some snacks. On the trip down, he bought a donut and I think a couple donuts and some coffee at a gas station. Got gas. And then, so Sunday when we got back, again, not in order, it was our anniversary that night. So we ended up going out to this Thai restaurant in St. Paul that his friend had recommended. And we ended up getting like an appetizer and 3 different entrees to share. And then we brought some of it home and each had leftover one of the other days. And it was really good food. And it was really funny because the guy was like, you know, how spicy do you want it? And it wasn't like the traditional 1 through 5, but it was the equivalent of that. And we both were like 4. And the guy was like, are you sure? And we're like, yes. And so I think when they brought the food out, him and another guy were like standing off to the side, like watching us to see if we were actually going to be able to eat it or not. And we both were able to. There was like one dish that was a little spicier than like the other 2. And they definitely both had some kick, but they weren't like super spicy to us or anything. So, but the one was definitely a little spicier, but they were all really good. And for breakfast, before we left Iowa, we stopped at a Mexican place, which we'd been to before on another road trip for lunch, and had like tacos, but they did breakfast tacos and burritos and things like that. So we got that. So that was mine and DJ's breakfast that morning. And then DJ got a donut and, no, actually I think he just got a coffee because I think his friend ended up getting the donuts. I can't remember now. He got gas. And then when we changed our insurance for our homeowner's insurance, we also had to change our car insurance. So Progressive was who we had before, and our 6 months ran through the end of the year. So they issued us a refund for $273.77. And I did put it in ready to assign, but I've already assigned it to the car insurance fund. So I'm not going to actually budget that money. I just automatically put it there, but I wanted it to count as money allocated to that fund, or sinking fund. Excuse me. At Aldi, I bought groceries for $63.35. And then because it's getting to where we are having our heat on, and I'm going to start using our humidifier in our house. We have like one that's connected to our furnace, but we have like a small portable one that we keep in our bedroom to help put some extra humidity in the air. So I always buy some distilled water in the winter to refill that. We used to use regular water, but then it was discoloring the floor because all the moisture hitting the floor, it was like putting deposits or whatever from whatever's in the water. So we started using distilled water, and now we don't have that problem. And then I got a little bit extra groceries at Cub. There was some stuff that can't get at Aldi that had to go to Cub Foods, so that was $12.25. DJ got his coffee, like he gets ground coffee, and some other things at the co-op. I think he bought lunch for himself that day. I can't remember what else he said he got, but and then his friend had gotten the Airbnb through his account, so we sent him money for half of the thing, so that was $85 that we Venmo'd to him. And then on Monday and Tuesday I took the day off, which was lovely, much needed. Monday I was very glad to get to sleep in a little bit because I slept horribly at the Airbnb. So I was glad to sleep in my own bed and get to sleep in a little bit. And then Tuesday I probably could have worked, but I was glad to have the extra day off. So I went on Monday and got massage. And then on my way home from the massage, I went to the grocery store and everything. So the massage was $122.57. DJ took out some cash to pay for his yoga class, or series of yoga classes that he's going to take. So that was $50. And then he just had the other 30 that he's got in cash. He might redeposit it, or he might just spend out of it. So that was that. He bought lunch at Cub Foods, I think, on the 28th. We have our Netflix for $8.71. He had a oral argument in front of the Minnesota Court of Appeals yesterday on Thursday. So he had to pay for parking in St. Paul. So there's like a parking meter, and then there, a little further up, there's like a parking garage. I'm not sure exactly why he had both, but I know he parked at a garage, and then I think he moved his car for whatever reason. So he had $1.25 for the parking meter. I needed to get some spinach because I didn't get it at Cub because I was going to get it at Aldi. And this is partly why I go to Aldi first usually, is because in case they don't have something because they're just out or whatever, then I can get it somewhere else. But I went to Cub first this time just because of the way I was coming home. It would have gone out of my way to go to Aldi first and then go back to Cub. So I went to Cub first and then went to Aldi, and then they didn't have any spinach, and I wasn't going to go back to Cub. So when I was downtown at work on Wednesday, I stopped at Target and picked up spinach. DJ's mom Venmo'd me the $125 to cover the massage. She always usually rounds up a little bit. So it covered the massage plus a little bit extra, which I have also already assigned. So I put $123, I think, towards the massage to reimburse myself, and then I just added the extra $2 or $3 to next month. So I can show you that when I'm in there. Last night on DJ's way home, we decided to have him pick up food at Afro Deli. I got a gyro sandwich, and he got, I don't remember what he said he got, but it was really good. And then he bought a couple gifts for some people at work. So kind of unexpected. Well, he'd been thinking about it. He didn't tell me, but it's fine. And I didn't really want to have it come out of his money, so I'm just taking it out of the gifts category, and we'll just replenish that. I think it's like people who really kind of were supportive of him with everything with his brother, and so he kind of wanted to do something nice for them. DJ got his coaching pay, and then here's the parking garage for $8, and then apparently another parking meter. Oh, that must have been the parking meter that was a different day. So here's the two different parking meters. So I don't remember why he had to pay for a parking meter on the 28th, but. And then, so our water bill normally, so before it was coming out near the end of the month, and then it started consistently coming out at the beginning of the following month. So I started assigning it to the next month, and of course this time they took it out early. So so I technically have overspending that I'll have to fix. And then I made note here, so that I don't forget to do this, that once we've assigned out the money for this last week, I want to transfer money from our checking account into our brokerage account. So I have this to actually set that transaction up, and I'll walk you through how I do that once we've reallocated the money. So let's go into the budget. So DJ is $693.68. And before I do that, let me, so the car insurance, I just added the $273.77 to November, so that way it counts towards the next 6 months premium. And then for the massage, this has $123 from what DJ's mom sent me, and then I added the remaining $2, and we'd already had $3 in here from earlier this month, so but that way it counts towards the $47 that I need to do in November. So, and then I think it didn't matter about the change because she gave over a straight dollar amount. So since we are a month ahead, if you're newer to my channel, we've been pretty much a month ahead for years, because for the longest time I used to only get one paycheck a month, and it was like at the end of the month, so then I had to use that money for next month because I wasn't going to get paid again until the end of the month. So we just kind of always have done that, but it also just makes it easier because then I know exactly, like, we're not waiting, because like I get paid every other week, and then DJ gets paid twice a month for being an attorney, and then he gets paid every other week for his coaching, but he only gets paid for coaching for like a few months of the year when he's actually coaching. So it's very inconsistent when we're actually going to get paid, and DJ's paid hourly for being an attorney, so his income is also very inconsistent. So we just have gotten a month ahead. It makes our life easier. Right now I am continuing to put money into a holding pattern that will start changing in November for December, because I'm like 99.9% sure that I'm going to be able to finish all of my sinking funds, binders, the travel binder, the debt binder, and all of our other longer term savings challenges. And if we don't finish like a challenge or two, I'm fine with that. But I think I can either finish all of them or majority of them completely. So I think starting in November, I'll just go to actually budgeting per category the way that I used to do it. So, and actually one thing I wanted to point out, so you can see I have $693.68 to budget in October, and it says I have one overspent category. So if I flip over to November, it actually takes away the money that was overspent for that water bill, because I hadn't assigned any money, money for the water bill. So we have $594.28. So technically the easiest thing I could do is just take the $99.40 from that I already assigned to November, which is actually what was supposed to be covered or paid for this water bill. But I think, actually, yeah, I'll do that. So I'm going to take $99.40 out, and then I'm just going to add $99.40 there. So now we have the $693.68. And then I'm going to come into November. So now we're back to having the $693.68. Right, is that right? Yes. And I'm just going to put this in our holding category for November. And then, so that's the boring part right now. So it's just going into that. But I will get to play with that money soon, because now it's the end of the month. So once I get my interest and everything tomorrow, then I'll know the final, what everything is, and can actually do a budget, like reallocating the money between the different weeks and everything. And I think I'm going to try to record that separately rather than having it be part of next week's weekly check-in, but not sure. So before I take the money out of that, I'm going to look over the monthly spending first. So for dates, we had $75 and we only rolled over $50. So I'm going to take $25 and send that to ready to assign. And I decided to do it this way because it makes it a lot easier than the way I was doing it, where I do it at the same time as I allocate the money for the week. For eating out, we have $53.01, which is below our $100 cap because we went out twice this week. And actually, I guess technically we went out multiple times this week with our trip, but that money comes out of our travel fund. So of the $53.01, I'm going to take the 1 cent and put it towards spending. And then gasoline we carry over until next week. Actually, I might. Yeah, just in case. I need gas this week. I don't think I will, but just in case. Okay. Then groceries, I'm going to take the 21 cents and put that towards spending. So we have $77 left and we have a $75 cap. So I'm going to take the $2 and put that back up to ready to assign. So that gets us back to our cap. And then for my food, anything I don't spend in the week always just goes back to ready to assign. So we have $42 that we didn't spend this week that was above our caps or anything like that. So I'm going to come down here to our month ahead binder category and I'm going to add this $42. So it'll, in 2 weeks when I'm in my month ahead binder again, we'll have that $42 to play with. And then now we can come up here and take our $1,202 out, and that frees up all of this money. And I'm going to leave this open because I want to do something with this $50 as well. So for dates, I'm going to add the $25 in that we do every week. For eating out, I'm going to add in $60. We leave gas alone because we only do that once a month. Groceries, we're going to add in $80. And then my food, I'm going to do $15. And then spending, normally we do $10 a week, but when it's a 5-week month, for me, I only do it over 4 weeks. So this week doesn't get anything. And then we'll come down to our savings challenges. So first for mini Mondays, we're going to add in our $40. Our long-term binder is going to get $280, and that is for our sinking funds and annual expenses, things like that. Travel is going to get $133. And then debt, our debt binder is going to get $200. And then our Friday challenge, since today is the 31st, is going to get $31. Our 2025 challenge is going to get $53. And then our 10K challenge is going to get $285, which brings us down to 0. So we've budgeted all the money that we had for the week. And after I finished recording, I realized that I forgot to come back in here and do the transfer to Fidelity to cover the savings challenges and everything that I've been doing from Becca and Amazing Alico. So wanted to jump back in here and do that. So I've already set up this transfer between our checking account and our savings account now that I've allocated the money. So I just need to come in here and I'm going to do this as a split transaction because I'm going to have more than one category that it's going to come from. So my total outflow is going to be $1,850 that we're transferring from our checking to our brokerage account. So yay, very excited about that. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull up our Friday challenge. So you can see here it tells me how much is in that category. So that is $85. So that is what I'm going to list here. And the nice thing is what it'll do is, since I've told it how much is the total, as I add in the amounts, it'll tell me how much is remaining. So I can make sure that it ends up being 0 as the amount remaining. So the next one is going to be the 2025 challenge. We have $266 that we can transfer. And then we have our 10K challenge. We have $1,435. And then this extra $64 is just money that I think when we had, I can't even remember what it was, but earlier this month I had like $64 left over from something, and I had certain money and I put a little extra towards our mortgage and I put a little towards our brokerage account, and I just hadn't transferred it yet. So that's what this extra $64, whatever that was, I can't remember now what it was, but so that is our $64. So now I have $0 ready to assign. And so when I save this, has all of those. And now when I come in to our budget and I open up our savings, now all of the categories are 0, and it shows that I took $85 out, $266 out, $1,435, and then the 64 cents. It was $164 that I had from something, and I put $100 to, I think, mortgage or something. So, and then usually what I do is I've been keeping a running tally of how much I've already invested from each of the different challenges. So I just will end up adding this and updating that. So I did $624 and I'm adding 85. So now I'm up to 709, which would match what I have in the envelope now. And then 1554 plus 266 is 1820. And then 7,015 plus 1435 is 8,450. So all these were getting so close to finishing. I'm very excited. So I think, yeah, Becca's is $841. The 2025 challenge technically is supposed to be $2,025, but I think it's like $9 off. So it's going to be like $6 or $9 less than that when I added it all up. And then the $10,000 challenge. So we're just over $1,500 away from finishing that one. So I'm super excited. And then the $64 one went out. So now we are all caught up. So yeah, just wanted to show that to you guys since I said I was going to do it and then I completely forgot. So what I'm going to do, so this $50 that I have up in this holding, I had set that money aside in case DJ needed more money for the month, and he's actually done pretty good. He has just over $61 left, and actually let me see, I'm gonna move this to DJ spending just because it's easier. So he wanted $20 of that to get sent to base, which he is trying to play base every day if possible, but I think he's like, as long as he plays it a certain number of times in a month, he will add money to his base category because he wants to get a new base. But he's kind of like, I don't want to buy a new base if I'm not playing it enough. So he figures the more he plays, the more he'll put into the category. And he was doing pretty good at the beginning of the month, but then between this appeal that he had to argue and some other stuff with work and then football ending and everything, he just didn't do as well. So he's like, I don't want to not put anything into it. So he's like, I'll just put $20 towards it. So that category is down here. So we added that $20. So he's now up to $150. I don't even know how much a bass costs. But he plays bass, guitar, and piano. And yeah, I love listening to him play. It's kind of fun. But so since he didn't run out of money this month, which was nice, I'm going to take this $50 out, and I'm going to put 50 of it here to cover that water bill. So now I just need to come up with presumably $49.40 to cover next month's bill, which I'll make sure I have it before the end of November, and not think it's gonna not charge until the next month. We don't actually get our bill until the first week or so of the month, so I don't know for sure, but it's definitely going to be $99.40, but it's never gone over $100, so it's usually the $99.40. Occasionally it'll be less than that, but so I think there's part of me that wants to like find money so to see if I can get it covered, because it's nice to not have to worry about it. So for outdoors, I think do $44.90 and do ready to assign. And because I'd already put money in there, I'm just gonna snooze. Oh, that was not what I wanted to do. Let me go back to October and take it out. $44.90 to ready to assign. And then we're gonna snooze it for the month. And then I'm going to come to November and add, oops, I have to go back and get $4 more. $4.50. Let me try that again. Actually, undo, okay, undo. How much do I need? I need $49.40. Okay, try this again. Okay, $49.40 to ready to assign. And then we are going to snooze the target. Now try this again and add the $49.40. Yay, now we are fully funded and don't have to worry about it. And outdoors, I figured we don't do a whole lot that we have to spend money on in outdoors in the wintertime, because we're not buying plants and stuff in Minnesota in the winter. We got our snowblower fixed, so it should hopefully work this winter. And yeah, pretty much the only thing I spend money on during the winter or leading up to the winter is buying bags that are compostable to put leaves in it that we bag up, because they take them as yard waste, but they'll only take yard waste if it's in like a paper bag or like a reusable plastic container that they'll dump it and then put it back for you to reuse. So that's pretty much the only thing I buy right now. Might need to buy a new shovel or something like that or something at some point, but definitely will not spend more than like a couple $100 on any of that. And we'll got plenty of time to save up for the warmer months because it's only November. We got several of cold months to go. So yeah, so I think I have covered everything. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do a monthly recap video where I'll go over all my spending for the month and then also show how I allocate the money out for November. And I'll do that once I have get the interest that post tomorrow for October into my bank accounts. And then I will be back on Monday with Mini Monday long-term savings challenges and travel binder. Tuesday will be our debt binder video, and then Thursday will be our long-term sinking funds binder video. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.